It's a big pleasure to be addressing all of you, Dr. Ravi Shah, Olympian Ashwini Nachappa, Dr. Reddy, Dr. Shweta, all of the faculty and students. Okay, so we're here to discuss sports nutrition, dietetics, and all kinds of sports in general. So we've just heard an Olympian, a professional. I am a total amateur, so I will be speaking a lot from the amateur sport point of view too. So now, overall, generally I'll be covering these aspects: sports and fitness, muscle types, Dr. Phil Maffeton's 180 formula, things to understand about it, nutrition and dietetics in general, my personal experience, and I'm also giving you some useful links to read and hear. I've collected the names of all the students here and email IDs. I will send them to you later. Can I have the next question? Okay, so as far as sports is concerned, like I said, there's the professional sport and then there's the amateur sport. Now, professional sport again, there's high intensity, medium intensity, endurance, and we've just heard the high intensity sprint runner. Yeah, I mean, 200 meters in 24.07 seconds. 03. Yeah. So, and then the amateur sport is like what all of us would choose to do sooner or later in life. You know, I mean, our bread and butter comes from elsewhere, but we want to be fit, we want to be sleek, maybe lose some girth around the waist, and we start doing something. So that's the amateur sport kind of thing. So you could be choosing you're going to the gym or to the yoga, or running or cycling or swimming or whatever. So this is exactly what happened with me as well. Now, briefly here, I would like to speak. How does this work? I don't know. Right. No, that's okay. So, why I want to explain this is this has a lot to do with nutrition, and you're all going to be nutrition experts. So, this I'm speaking from my personal experience and also from a lot of reading as well. So now, you see, there are two kinds of muscles, the aerobic muscles and the anaerobic muscles. And the aerobic muscles, as the name itself indicates, uses oxygen from the atmosphere and fat, your own body fat. That's how aerobic muscles function. And then the anaerobic muscles are those muscles that use the stored glycogen within the muscle cell. So these are the two kinds of muscles that help us with whatever activity we are doing, whether we are walking or working or running or swimming, whatever it is that we're doing. These are the two basic muscles. Now, why I wanted to speak with this is to just explain to you briefly what Dr. Phil Maffeton says. You know, Dr. Phil Maffeton now is an 80-plus doctor who has been an endurance runner himself, but has also done a lot of research on nutrition and exercise, and has been coach for many, many endurance sports persons, world-class endurance sports persons, including Ironman and that kind of competitions. Now, what he says over his observation over all those years, for more than 3 decades, is that the aerobic muscles function very, very efficiently up till a certain heart rate. And if you go beyond that heart rate, he says the aerobic muscles slow down, and it's only your anaerobic muscles that start functioning. In other words, what he says is 180 formula is nothing but 180 minus your age. 180 minus your age. So if someone is 40 years old, it's 180 minus 40. He says that is generally, he also admits that you can't have a single thumb rule for everybody. We are all made differently. But his general observation is that it hovers around there. You could possibly add 5 beats, heartbeats, or deduct 5 beats, heartbeats, or whatever. So 180 minus your age, he says, is the threshold aerobic heart rate. So up till there, you are literally using your aerobic muscles. So you are using for energy oxygen from the air and your own body fat. How beautiful is that? But when you take your heart rate beyond that, then it's literally your anaerobic muscles that are functioning. Which means those anaerobic muscles are using the stored glycogen within the muscle. And that's it. That is when, now, for a sprinter, she's doing like 400 meters, 200 meters, it finishes like in a jiffy also. So, a runner like that will be entirely using the anaerobic muscles, so their glycogen is required. But then, those are the shorter runs. Let us say, for example, a 5-kilometer run or a 10-kilometer run. One could do the entire 10-kilometer run at heart rates much higher than 180 or at 180 or whatever. So then it is completely the use of glycogen. That is when stored. Can I have the next page, please? So that is when you need glucose to be ready in your blood to supplement the glycogen that's getting used up. This is very interesting, you must know. At high heart rates, beyond that 180 minus 8 that I told you, only aerobic muscles, the glycogen is used. And you know how long, let us say you're running at 180 or 190 or 200 beats per minute heart rate, your glycogen stores in your muscles last only about 2 to 3 minutes. That's all. Beyond that, you need glucose to be ready in the blood to replenish that. That is where the need for carbohydrate comes in. Now, I have said misconceptions about carb loading in endurance sport. I have observed, over the years, I got into endurance running and all that only when I was 48 years old. But my observation has been that if anybody is going for, let us say, a marathon, and I'm talking about amateurs, they start doing carb loading. Carb loading 3-4 days in advance. But the point is, there's only that much glycogen your muscles can hold. There's only that much glycogen your liver can hold, nothing beyond that. So if you overload yourself, probably before the day of your marathon, you would have put on a kilo or two. Not required, because the important thing is you need the sugar, you need the glucose during your run. That's what becomes more important. If I'm running a marathon, if I'm running 42 kilometers, obviously all my training I do at 180 minus my age. But on race day, I'm going to go all out. That means I'm going to use my anaerobic muscles. That means I need the glycogen. So why this becomes important for all of you is tomorrow you might be consulting as sports nutritionist or just nutritionist for a common man like me. So you should be able to understand this. For a common man like me, bottom line is speed is not important. I want to be fit. I want to be good and ready to go for my work tomorrow. I don't want to stand in a queue for a physiotherapist deep tissue massage because I hurt myself. You get the point? So, planning your nutrition during an endurance. This again, I'm sure when you start working, be it as an independent consultant or working in a hospital or wherever, these questions will come up. For endurance sport, what should be my nutrition? There again, there is no single thumb rule. We are all made differently. one has to figure out. One has to figure out over a period of time. Yeah, I always train with the marathon method, which means I keep my heart rate low. And obviously I'm not going big speeds. But if I am going to, let us say, the Bangalore Marathon and it's coming up in the next 3 or 4 months, I have to do some speed then. So then I have to gauge for myself how much sugar and how much salt I need. Why salt? Because I'm losing a whole lot of body fluids and salt. Sugar, because I'll be doing at a higher heart rate, so I'll be using my anaerobic muscles. How much do I need? So me, personally, what works for me is simple jaggery and salt. Jaggery powder and salt. This is what. And I figured out that for a marathon run, I need to take 2 pinches of jaggery and salt once every 20-25 minutes. So every time I see an aid station coming up, I used to keep it in a small bottle here, pop it in, then drink a little bit of water and go. So that, it works differently for India. For somebody else, the same thing may not work. They might need that same 2 pinches of jaggery and salt maybe every 15 minutes or every half an hour for somebody else. That depends on the individual. But they will have to figure out for themselves. So there is no single thumb rule. So you will have to, when you are consulting for somebody, you will have to bear this in mind. And then, that's individual. Yes, individual as well. Can I have the next page, please? Okay, nutrition and dietetics in general. That's more my subject because I'm not pro. So all of us, the people like us, will choose to do some kind of physical activity to be fit. Now, what I've observed is when I started when I was 48 years old. I went for one race and then I finished it. So it took me a fortnight to recover from it. But after that, I got hooked on. And I did several, after that. But what happens is, if you're running a half marathon on your own, you're not competing with anybody, you're just doing it yourself. But when you go to a race and when you are timed, then you say, oh, I could do better, kind of thing. And it goes on and on. And another observation of mine is with bicycling or running or whatever. Now let's say somebody goes out for bicycling 100 kilometers over the weekend. After having done that, it will be treated as qualification to go to corner house in the evening for a death by chocolate. I've known so many of my friends, even I've done that. I've done several 200 kilometer brevets. So finish the brevet, come back, that takes about, I think I did it in about 9 hours or 50 minutes or something. So you start in the morning, you finish in the evening. So immediately everybody says, okay, let's all meet up at dawn. And then death by chocolate. So that here we need to understand food. I'm sure, I don't have to teach you guys about food, but all the same. You see, after we have chosen one of these activities, we do all that is fine. I have also found there is a bit of a misconception about these calories, intake of calories. Taking less calories of what? You're getting calories from all sources of food, but what are you going to control? And the other misconception is, eat as much as you want, as long as you burn it. I think both of these are misconceptions. Now, what I have found, this is my personal experience. You see, the thing is, we have these 3 macronutrients. We have the carbs, we have the fat, and we have the protein. Now, all of them get synthesized differently. Your carbs get broken down to glucose, your fat gets broken down to ketones, and your proteins get broken down to amino acids. And the understanding is that the amino acids are required for your muscle repair, You might have run a marathon, or you might have done your 200 kilometers brevet or whatever. So you need to recover, your muscles need to recover, you need the amino acids for that. Likewise, carbs. Carbs, you need the glucose, but because you have done, enough running and enough cycling or swimming or whatever activity, that. And fat, they break down to ketones. Now, now I will speak more from my personal experience. The thing is, what I have found, I'll go back, I started endurance sport when I was 48, I'm 62 now, so that's right. 7 years ago was my peak, in terms of practice, in terms of endurance sport, because I was training for Ironman. I had finished my half Ironman. I finished my half Ironman in about 6 hours, 25 minutes. The full Ironman I was training for. So my weekly average used to be about 120 kilometers of cycling, 40 kilometers of running, and 8 kilometers of swimming. And I was 72 kilos. Now, again, I used to do a lot of reading, I did a lot of reading, etc. Suddenly, one day I bumped into a lecture on YouTube by Dr. Tim Noakes. That link is there. When I email it to you in the PDF file, you get that link as well. So just listen to that. So I read that, I listened to that, and then there he made the observation that your carbs break down to glucose. You need that for energy, yes. But the point is, he said, the ketones are as efficient, or they can be used for your energy as long as you allow your body to use it. So he was recommending low carb and high fat. I started to do that. And somewhere down the line, I also came across, somewhere down the line in the sense that was much later, let me just talk about just low carb and high fat. I started to practice that, low carb and high fat. It took me about 9 months. From 72 kilos, I was down to 57. With the same intensity of workouts and everything, but my weight really came down. And how did that happen? Just to give you an example, on weekends, invariably I used to go cycling up to Mandya, take a U-turn, come back. It was about 80 kilometers. And then I used to go for a 10-kilometer run. For that bicycle ride, I used to carry 2 bottles of Enersol, couple of bananas, Britannia bourbon biscuit, all of these thick stuff in there. That's how I used to eat. Then I realized, also you see, I came across the Maffetone method. So I put everything together. On the one hand, there's the Maffetone method where I work out at a lower intensity heart rate. So I'm using my aerobic muscles. So I'm using my body fat for energy, not the sugar. I started doing that. And then my intake of food was low carb, high fat. The combination of these two simply brought down my weight. Now, as an amateur, what more can I ask for? My bread and butter comes from elsewhere. This is, I'm doing this to be fit, and this was keeping me fit. Absolutely fine. And then later, about 5 years ago, I came across another lecture on YouTube, and also I did a lot of reading from that doctor, Dr. Jason Funk. That link will also be there for you guys to see. That was about fasting. Now, a combination of 180 formula as a sports person, as an endurance sports person, which is keeping my heart rate low on my workouts, and then fasting, and then low carb high fat. The combination of these three, simply changed my life. In fact, somewhere down the line, I met with a cycling accident and I gave up cycling. So I have no vision in my right eye, so it used to be very difficult. I used to use a rear view mirror and things like that, but all the same, I had a bad accident on my way back from Mandya on one of those rides. So the family said, for heaven's sake, don't give us tension. So I said, okay, I'll not cycle anymore. I'll run and swim. You see, running is very good because you run on the roads. I mean, you are a track person, so you will run in the stadium.
No, I still run on the roads.
You do? Wonderful. So, on the roads, the advantage is you can run against the traffic. So you at least know who wants to hit you. But there, in Mandya, what happened really, see, I was coming. I was doing probably some 25 kilometers per hour. And you know, all the buses and lorries think the overtaking track is there, so they'll never leave that. So that guy is there. So there's another truck coming in the next lane. And fortunately, the fellow is honking his head off. So I had to decide, listen, I'm at the edge of the road. What am I going to do? If this fellow touches me, I'm gone, finished. So there was no shoulder in the road also, it was quite even. I simply decided I'll go off the road. I went off the road, there was some, sand and stuff. The bike skidded, and I was wearing cleats. I had the cleats on. It was all too sudden, I couldn't release it. With the cleats, I simply fell. Fortunately, I didn't break my collarbone. I just had a deep gash, in spite of the helmet, mind you. In spite of the helmet, I had a deep gash here. I had to get 4 stitches and all that. Anyway, that's a different story. So I gave up cycling then, and I'm only doing running and swimming now. And like I said, my intensity has come down too. I do about 30-40 kilometers of running every week, about 2 kilometers of swimming. And of course, now I've introduced yoga and core and strength workouts. So as you age, your body starts stiffening. You need that flexibility. So I do yoga as well to keep myself kind of being able to bend this way and that. So that's more or less that. Yeah. Like I said, fasting, I do 1 meal a day now. I'm pretty comfortable. So all my workouts are in the morning anyway. So be it a run or be it swimming or sometimes I go kayaking. Whatever it is that I do, eating I do in the evening. I have an early meal because then invariably mornings are taken up for one of these sports. So I eat earlier. I eat about 6 o'clock. I have an eating window of 6 to 8 o'clock. So I eat in that during that eating window, and that's about it. So yeah, that's more or less my story. And of course, about entrepreneurship, I'm not going to take too long. I just want to say a few sentences. Always keep your eyes and ears open. Keep your minds open. You never know when an opportunity is going to hit you. And don't even neglect the slightest available opportunity. Now, you see, me in terms of educational background, I just did my physics, chemistry, mathematics, BSc, and even that I was like, no flying colors and all that, second class. In fact, in my college days, I spent more time rehearsing for dramas and on stage rather than in the classes. But in my final year, I knew if I do BSc, what more am I going to do? I knew that's going to be the end of my career, in terms of education. So I had an uncle of mine who used to do some printing on metals and stuff like that. So I used to go and meet his head and say, tell me something that I can do. So he said, see Ajit, there's one guy who has an anodizing unit. He says it costs $6,000. I mean, he was quoting 10,000, but and there's a small shed here in his industry, where in the same industrial estate. This was in Bangalore. So he said, if you want, start doing that. Basically, anodized aluminum labels on machinery and all that you would have seen, those aluminum labels. So I said, okay. I went to my father. In my earlier days, I wanted to do engineering, but I could not do engineering because my dad had fallen very ill. And he spent a lot of money on his treatment and stuff. And he was working in Canada Bank then. So I didn't want him to hurt himself more. So at that time I refused for him to buy me an engineering seat. You know how much donation was in those days for an engineering seat? 6,000. 6,000 in Ajit College, Bangalore. I said, no, Dad, you're not going to buy me a seat. So later, when I was in my final year PhD, my father kind of recovered it. So then I went and said, can you lend me 6,000? He said, for what? I said, I want to do this. My mother immediately protested. She said, are you crazy? We are not used to all this. We are all Brahmins. You just go work like your father in the bank. That's all. You no business and all that. So I said, Ma, please, I'll do it. So anyway, my dad gave it. I took that and ran the unit for 1 year. Okay, pretty decent. And then I had a consultant. He was working for National Aeronautical Laboratories. He used to come and help me with the anodizing and all that. One fine day he came and said, Ajit, if you want to sell, I'll buy the unit. My eyes brightened. I said, okay, maybe some other opportunity is going to come my way. I said, yeah, how much? So he said 8,000. I said, no, give me 12,000. We finalized 10,000. I gave it to him. Went to my dad. Said, thank you, Dad. Give back the 6,000. So I had 4,000 in my pocket for some time. So now I start thinking, what next? In the year 1981, TV came to Bangalore for the first time. And in December, if I remember right, the World Cup was happening, cricket. So everybody was keen on buying a TV. A friend of mine got an agency for Konark TVs which were manufactured in Odisha. Can you believe it? He got some demonstration sets. No showroom, no nothing, mind you. He gave me one TV and a book to take orders. I said, good, let's do it. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೋ ಒಂದು ಟಿ ವಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ₹100 ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, ₹50 ನನಗೆ, ₹50 ನಿಮಗೆ. I said, okay, let's do it. And you know what? I took the agency, no shop, no showroom, mind you. I just, you guys must know actor Prakash Belwadi. Prakash Belwadi's dad, he used to be a great makeup artist. His name was Makeup Nani. So they are all family friends. So I went to Makeup Nani and said, Uncle, in factory, he used to be the marketing manager for TT Private Limited, Prestige Pressure Cookers. I said, can I bring this TV and demonstrate it in your factory? People may want to buy. He said, I cannot. So I went. Guess what? I sold 40 TVs. 40 TVs, and I also realized, one TV, ₹50. In those days, black and white TV, there was ugly as on the. I mean, you guys don't know, you're all too young. Doctor, I say one blue screen and go. A blue screen ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ₹75 ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ನು. TV stand ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ₹150 ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ನು. Antenna. So all those things. Okay, stabilizer. ಆಯ್ತಾ? Now, why I'm telling you all this, you have to keep your eyes and ears open for opportunity. So this went on well for some time. Then another friend calls me. He said, hey Ajit, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಡೀಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಂತಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ AC ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸರ್ ಬೇಕು. I said, okay, I'll get it. I went to his house. He wasn't there. His dad was there. Oh, ಏನ್ರಿ ಎಟ್ಟಿನ ಬಂದು ಬತ್ತೇನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಟ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬಿಜಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಈಗ? ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ TV ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸರ್ ತರಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರ್. You know what? ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? I was hurt, ಏನೋ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಏನೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಪಾಡು ನೋಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. Why is he asking me like this? He said, ಇಲ್ಲ ರೀ, ನೀವು ರಿಯಲ್ ಎಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Again, I'm telling you, at the age of 21, When I went to the vegetable market with my dad and mom, I used to see vegetables ಜೊತೆಲಿ real estate ಅಂತಾನು ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿರೋರು. ಅಷ್ಟು ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ real estate ಅರ್ಥ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. I didn't know the meaning. Then I was looking at him blankly. He said, ಕೆನರಾ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕು ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಣ್ರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ಸು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವೇಶ್ವರಂ ಬಸವನಗುಡಿಲಿ ಜಾಗ ಕೊಡಿಸಿ, 10-15,000 ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಫುಟ್ ಜಾಗ ಕೊಡಿಸಿ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, there's an opportunity. So immediately next day, take my friend, go searching for opportunity. Then suddenly one thing struck my mind. See, I mentioned to you, I sold a TV in TVs in TT Private Limited. The purchase manager there also bought a TV from me, and his house was the exact location where these people wanted a property. Old house. I can't go and ask him, right? I can't do that. So I went slowly to make up planning and said, I have a client, they want to buy property. Hey, I'm marking in theatre that I went 15,000 square feet. I'm talking about 1982, I think. 15,000 square feet on Vishweshwaram Diagonal Road, near the opposite Jain College. Okay? For how much? 15,000 square feet for 20 lakhs. In those days. 1982. And old man had said he will give me commission. 2%. 40,000 bucks. And I never imagined anything like that. So, that's it. After that, no looking back. From that day onwards, even till now, I'm in real estate. So I started as an estate agent. Now I'm a developer. That's, you have to grow, right? So good. So as far as your careers are concerned, grow this way. But as far as your nutrition is concerned, don't grow this way. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So if you guys have any questions, by all means ask. And, Olympian is there, you should be asking her more questions too. Okay. Thanks so much.